Hare Krishna. So we'll start with the prayers. Om Gantimrandasya Gananjana Sadakaya Chakshurmitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stavatam Yena Bhudare Swayam Rupkadamayam Dadati Sapadantikam Vande Ham Sri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagar Jatam Sagana Raghunatham Tam Tam Sajivam Sadhuitam Savadutam Padjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Radha Sri Vishakamatamscha नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाभूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सद्गुरुते देवे गौरवाणी विचारणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यस्ताने वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्नाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौतस्य नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु गणपते गोपसा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्ते सप्तकांचन गौरांगी श्री राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी विष्णुभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय नीलाचल निवासाय नित्याय परमात्मने बलभद्र सुभद्राभ्याम जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे कृष्ण। So group number 5, 6, 7, sorry 4, 5, 6. So are they ready?
Hare Krishna, Dandapram Prabhuji.
Yeah. Ready?
Please to share the screen, Prabhuji.
Yeah. So I'll make you host. So now you can present, Prabhu.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandapram Prabhuji. Thank you very much for giving us opportunity. Today I am going to present an overview of conditioning of the three modes of material nature upon a living entity with reference to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 14, verses and purports. So this material world is like a jail, not a natural place to live. Nobody can avoid birth, old age, disease, and death. We came to material world due to Icha and Moha and did not cooperate attitude with the Supreme Lord. We are forced to take birth in the material world, which is called as Dukkalam Ashashtatam. In this material world, all are looking for happiness. Searching happiness is like searching lost key near lamp post where it gives the light. Instead of searching the place it was lost. We are spirit souls and we are searching happiness in matter, which is never possible, like water and oil never mix each other. We are tied with the chains of three modes of material nature, namely gold chain representing mode of goodness, silver chain representing mode of passion, iron chain representing mode of ignorance. Due to this, all our activities are restricted. So we'll discuss about now three modes of material nature, which is created by Lord Krishna to make us to enjoy in this material world. Sattva-guna, mode of goodness. The mode of goodness are seen when an atmosphere of peace, serenity, harmony prevails in our environmental and ourselves. Mode of passion, that is Sajoguna. The mode of passion is felt as insatiable desire for temporary things, striving for more and more of them, and perpetual dissatisfaction. Tamoguna, mode of ignorance. The mode of ignorance is indicated when there is laziness, depression, intoxication, and insanity.
Modes influence on the living entities. Mode of goodness. The sense of happiness is due to understanding that in the mode of goodness, one is more or less free from the sinful reactions. One will be satisfied because he can distinguish between the matter and spirit and become pure. A man in the goodness, he is not much affected by material miseries and he has a sense of advancement in material knowledge. One can see, hear, taste things in the right position.
Mataji, loudly.
Mataji, voice is very low.
sorry, one can see, hear, and see and taste things in the right position. One becomes cleansed inside and outside.
Okay.
Hare Krishna, is it audible now?
Yes, yes.
The result of pious activities in the mode of goodness is pure and he is situated in happiness. Those who die in the mode of goodness are elevated to the planets of Brahmaloka or Janaloka, where the great sages and the great devotees live. Mode of passion. When the mode of passion is increased, one develops the hankering for material enjoyment. He wants to enjoy the sense gratification by the way of some honor in the society or in the nation, or he wants to have happy family with nice children, wife and house. In order to have all this, he has to work very hard, so there is no end to sense gratification. The result is the miseries and develops greed and end of the life take birth again in the earthly planet. But there is no guarantee that the human being will again attain the human status. The mode of ignorance. In a mode of ignorance, one become a madman, cannot understand what is what. Instead of making advancement, one becomes degraded. In their madness, they are very reluctant to make advancement in spiritual understanding. Such people are very lazy. Because people have no education in actual knowledge, they become irresponsible. He sleeps more than what is required. Such a man appears to be always dejected and is addicted to intoxicants and sleeping. And he develops foolishness, madness, illusion. At death, the person in ignorance take birth among the lower species of life and will go to the hellish worlds. So how to avoid all this? There is an opportunity for men in the mode of ignorance and passion to be elevated to the mode of goodness, and that system is called Krishna consciousness. But one who does not take advantage of this opportunity will certainly continue in the lower modes. Therefore, those who are actually serious about human life should take to the mode of goodness and in good association transcend the modes and become situated in Krishna consciousness. This is the aim of human life. Otherwise, there is no guarantee that the human being will again attain to the human status. By taking the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, one can become fixed in Krishna consciousness. A man in Krishna consciousness is not controlled by the spell of the material mode of nature. It has already been stated in the 7th chapter that one who has surrendered to Krishna is relieved from the activities of material nature. In conclusion, when you come to Krishna temple, Krishna is holding the flute and telling you to come and play with him. Our duty is to facilitate Krishna to have nice kirtan. By doing kirtan, we can enjoy eternal association of the Lord and easily cross over the 3 modes of material nature. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Subscribe.
Thank you. So we'd like to appreciate both the devotees by 3 times loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol.
Host mode is
So now group number 5.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna everyone.
Hare Krishna. So now I'll make you host. So now you can present. Yes, Sipro.
Hare Krishna. Can everyone see this?
Yes, we can see.
Okay. Hare Krishna, everyone. Today, the topic which we're going to discuss is about the symptoms of the jiva once they have transcended the modes. So, what we have learned so far is from there is a connection between the chapter 13 and 14, where we have learned how the jiva gets entangled in the material nature, that's Maya, and what are the reasons for getting this entanglement is only desire for the enjoyment. And then we have covered in terms of what are those modes of material nature, which are goodness, passion, and ignorance, and how do they work, how are they binding the living entity Maya, and how Maya binds the soul, basically. Now, from going forward, that is today, I think we should be able to conclude with how Krishna Bhakti will be able to destroy uh, and how one will be able to transcend these modes. Right, we're going to see in 14.20 what's the result when one transcends these modes. So when one surpasses the modes, he can surpass the miseries. That's how he'll be able to become a Gunatita. Here in this 14.20, the verse goes as saying, Gunanetan Atityatrin Dehi Dehas Samudbhavan Janma Mrityus Jara Dukhair Vimakto Amritam Ashnute. So now how one is going to transcend? By performing devotional service, one becomes liberated. Liberated from what? That is Janma Mrityu Jara and Dukhair. And one can enjoy happiness of spiritual life even in this material body. That's what the specific term Dehi is specified over there, because after leaving this body, he's certainly going to attain the spiritual sky. So in 14.21, that's where Arjuna asks 3 questions about how one becomes a Gunatita. So when the disease is subtle, we need education to perceive these symptoms of sickness and health. And that is exactly why he asked these questions. So in this particular verse, Arjuna Vacha Kair Lingay Strin Gunan Etan. So that's where he's asking a question. What are the symptoms? Is he known? And the answers will be answered by Lord Krishna in 14.22. And also Kim Acharaha. And also he uses specific terms. What is the behavior Kim Acharaha? And what is the process of transcending the modes? Katham Tin Grunan Ativartate. And now we'll see the symptoms of the gunas.
Hare Krishna. So far we have seen how the person who is in the modes, how does he transcend the 3 modes of nature, and how he is able to the entire list that we are going to see, that is the symptoms, is how a person transcends the modes and sits in there and takes advantages of the time that he gets. And the symptoms are to list out, which is he is free from envy and hankering, and he has no desire from manifestations of modes. That is, he's always illumined. He's not scared of the illumination or attachment or delusion. That means as long as one is in the body, one acts neutrally. So we have to act neutral and should not be attacked by Maya. So we have to be away from that. And we have to always engage in devotional service so that the identification with the body is forgotten. So we are actually identifying ourselves with this body and enjoying separate from Krishna, and hence we have received this body. He clearly knows that whenever I enjoy separate from Krishna, that's when not in the one of the modes, and I have to be in Shuddha Tattva. And one does not need this body, or need to accept the dictations of the body. So like when we say I'm away from Krishna, I want to maybe I want to indulge in something, that becomes that I'm actually thinking of the body and not thinking of my or not thinking about Krishna. So this way he is equipoised and transcendental, and he's quite detached, being neutral, because he knows that he's taking the instructions from Krishna above, and also he's taking instructions from Chaitya Guru, and he is equipoised, transcendental, and detached, knowing that the modes alone are active, and he is neither angry about the modes, rather he is quite equipoised and neutral. And How does the soul become aloof? Neither desires to enjoy the body nor desires to go out of the body. So we are receiving this body from ages only because we have that small desire that keeps transforming from one body to another body. And that desire keeps us attached to the body, and hence the soul has to be neutral, equipoised, and it should not have that desire, rather, it should transcend the modes and also be neutral all the times that I don't want to be enjoying this body, and I have to always link all my work towards Krishna. And we'll also see the behavior of a person who is transcended the modes. He is steady in all circumstances, whether one praises and blames or the honor and dishonor. And when in happiness or distress, desirable or undesirable, he is always steady. He doesn't get carried away with the modes, and he knows that when he is praised or blamed, it's only the modes that are acting, and that's not him. It's actually the modes, and he's away from those modes, and deals equally with everyone, and everything is in Krishna consciousness. So earth, stone, gold, whatever he sees in this material world, he would accept whatever is favorable for his duty. And friend or enemy, whether one person is a friend or an enemy, he knows this is material world, and he accepts either of them who helps him as a dear friend and does not have so-called enemies. And he is equally disposed and sees everything on an equal level, and social and political issues do not affect him. So he knows that he has nothing to do with the material existence, and knows the situation of temporary upheavals and disturbances, and does not attempt anything for his own sake, but can attempt anything for Krishna. So just like how we see, the thoughts of the devotees, like Hanuman, he is always having. We always see that famous picture where he has Ram
Lord
and
Ram.
Lord Ram, and where he is always thinking of Lord Ram. That's how one has to be thinking, and that one has to behave like that. And their lives are fully devoted to Krishna, like Prabhupada, and devotees have to always think about Krishna in
They
mind, and
become a
that's
pure devotee, basically.
yes.
Yeah. And they are with once they become a pure devotee, once they have transcended the modes, they are enlightened with happiness, bliss. No matter what, they'll be always conversing about Lord Krishna. And those devotees who are constantly serving the Lord also reciprocates them, because he understands them and he reciprocates them so that they can come to him. So this is how the symptoms and the behavior which we have seen so far, and then we'll be able to see that in detail, in depth, today's class. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
We'd like to thank these two devotees also by 3 times loudly chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Now, group number 6.
Hare Krishna. Let us pranam.
Yes, bro, you can present now.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, the topic given for us to present in the group 6 is the transcending the modes, which is from the chapter number 14, Gunatraya Bhagavad Yoga. The group activity is the present practical ways how to transcend the modes with reference to the verse number 46 in the 14th chapter and the purport. So here the purport verse translation is that one who engages in full devotional service, unfailing in all circumstances, at once transcends the modes of material nature and thus comes to the level of Brahman. So actually this is the Krishna's reply to the Arjuna's third question, which is that what is the means of attaining to the transcendental position, the methods of transcending. One who engages in unallied devotional service to the Lord transcends the mode of material nature and is immediately elevated to the spiritual platform. A Krishna conscious person begins from the transcendental stage and is constantly in that consciousness. So this is the very clear answer. And then the second answer, I mean, before presenting the practical ways, I am just try to give the real verse meaning and what Prabhupada has explained in the purport. Then the second point is that one transcends all three modes by knowing that all within this world takes place under the modes, and by understanding that Krishna's activity are transcendental to the modes. It's also referred in the 14th verse of the 7th chapter. And see, these three modes will not be affected for bhaktas and Bhagavan and bhakti. In this stage, these three modes will not be affected. Okay.
One must come to the pure goodness, that is Sandhini Sat, which is Ananya Bhakti, the final super layer of thought enveloping all ideas in Ananya Bhakti, unalloyed devotional service. By simply engaging in Bhakti under the guidance of spiritual master, that is very important. Guidance of spiritual master is very important to transcend our whatever the service we do. Krishna says one can transcend in the word of death to attain his abode of eternally and bliss. It is said in Vedic literature, Brahmaiva San, Brahmapi Epi. It doesn't mean that we are going to merge in Brahman. He says, Prabhupada says in this, one does not lose his eternal Brahman identity as an individual soul. We have quantitatively same. One who engages in the service qualitatively same. One who engages in the service of any of the forms of Krishna or his plenary expansion is considered to be a transcendentally situated. Now we are going to see how the practical applications we do in our day-to-day life. How we can apply. The first thing what I felt is to getting up early in the morning. Even though that is very important to do our morning sadhana, maybe some other reason we are not going to get up. Even Prabhuji was also saying it is our anyone life or in devotees life, that is, every day the night will be very late and we cannot get up. So we have to make practice and try to sleep early, and we have to regulate our duties and give importance for sadhana. We should know preferences, what we have to give, and alert our consciousness, and do step by step and progress to transcend these modes.
Yeah, the next practical example is that, while dealing with the office colleagues or the outside in the marketplace who are not Krishna consciousness, we must be very smart and attentive so that we will not be deviate from our consciousness. For example, to say in our office, like when we are dealing with our own colleagues who are not conscious, Krishna conscious people, then we will have to be, there may be some hot talks, or there may be some other kind of situations where we should not deviate from our consciousness. We will always remember Krishna and try to perform our even the material activities. In that way we can perfect our life also. Then the other example is that cooking prasadam for the pleasure of the Lord and devotees can also help us transcend in modes. Like for Mangalarti programs and all, we used to cook. So there also we see the devotees. We see the devotees who are in all the stages of devotees. We communicate with them, and we try to transcend the activities which we do, like washing vessels, cutting the vegetables. So in that way also one can transcend. And then the other example is cultivating to preach to others about Krishna consciousness through our Bhakti Ruksha programs, which we are continuously attempting to do this one to give the Krishna consciousness to the other friends and colleagues. So then how we can transform is that there are three ways which purify the senses by engaging in Krishna consciousness, and engage mind in chanting, and intelligence engage in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. And even Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given one very beautiful verse in Shikshastakam, the 8th verse also. It says that how we can transcend to higher mode. So actually, for this verse, actually there are two beautiful analogies is given. If one is not situated in the same position with the Lord, one cannot serve the Supreme Lord. To be a personal assistant to a king, one must acquire the minimum qualifications. Likewise, even to become a devotee, we should have a minimum qualification of this controlling the senses and mind and intelligence. So, another beautiful analogy is given for this verse is that to be in Krishna consciousness or in devotional service means to acquire equality with Krishna. The Lord says that its nature is eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge, Satchitanand, and the living entities are part and parcel of the Supreme Mamayam Shajivaloka, as gold particles are part of a gold mine. So thus the living entity in this spiritual position is as good as gold, as good as Krishna in quality, but not in quantity. Actually, I just created one graphical chart which different kinds of people, different kinds of devotees, how these modes of goodness, mode of passion, mode of ignorance can apply. Just for the graphical representation. The first is the devotees, and then the atheists. So where that mode of goodness is very low, and even though here is that even though we try to transcend, but all these three modes will be present with us. This is what I just wanted to say. And in this transcendental platform, then what is the key to transcend the three modes is that fully engagement in our activities, devotional service, that is Bhakti Yogena, as explained in the verse, with unfailing Anya Vicharayana, and with great determination, Duravrata.
Conclusion. If we don't let our devotional service be interrupted by the modes and their resultant modes, then we gradually go beyond the reach of modes. If the conclusion is clear to serve the scriptures by hearing, preaching, and serving the Vaishnava, preaching the Vaishnavas, it is transcendental. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
We'd like to appreciate these two devotees by 3 times chanting Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
So these devotees can also mail me the PPTs. I told yesterday devotees to mail PPT, but only Gopi Priya Mataji and Tulsi Mataji, they only mailed. Nobody else mailed. Yeah. So you can mail me your PPTs. Now,
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna, I also mailed our PPTs.
oh, okay. Somehow I didn't get it. Did you mail in the right email ID? Can you recheck it again?
Okay.
Okay. For today, should I type my email ID again, or devotees have already, they know it?
You know it, Prabhuji.
Everybody had it.
Okay, fine. So now we'll start with text number 14, right? We are done till 13th.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So 14 to 18th talks about the effect of the modes. So what are the effects when one is conditioned by different modes of material nature? So 14th. So 14 talks about the destination. So what happens when one dies and a particular mode is prominent? So that is explained 14.